welcome back to JBSports. I'm your host here, and today is Friday, so you know it's all about the normal sports. And yes, it's it's no rumor that I was definitely upset with the games during the weekend, especially the Eagles Commanders game, where the Commanders did unfortunately lose. We lost. It wasn't any situation where the refs screwed us or anything. It was straight. It was just on us. That's really what it was. We just started out the game terribly. We were kind of slow. Defense was terrible. We're having a lot of trouble protecting JD. Um, I'm going to go more in depth this in its own episode because I feel like the Commander season, how good it was, it deserves its own thing. So I'm going to make a video for that. But just overall, we couldn't stop Saquon. A lot of things went on that we couldn't stop that we should have been able to. Jalen Hurts was able to get out of a few sacks. We couldn't guard their wide receivers, which it becomes more and more evident that every single day that we need to get a new cornerback to help out. Lattimore, I know a lot of people are hating on him, and I see where you're coming from. We brought him in to be this lockdown corner for us, but what I see is it was a guy who was in 3 to 4 regular game seasons, and he struggled. I mean, first game Mike Evans he struggled. Second game against the Lions he locked up, and then he kind of struggled a bit again. So I think people need to give him some time, let him have a whole off season, let him get his hamstring 100%, then bring him out and then judge him. I know it looked bad, but there's still time with Marshawn Lattimore. Give him a chance, give him a full off season to heal, get ready for a scheme, and then go out there and play. Because so far it's looking like Cliff and Joe Witt are going to come back. Cliff is already guaranteed. I'm pretty sure Joe Witt will come back, but we'll see. Because I do not think he wants to take that Saints job. That's going to be bad. The amount of cap space, not cap space. Yeah, I think there's something like 60 million in debt. So yeah, it's not looking for them. But back to the task at hand, Commanders Eagles. It was the fumbles. We had 3 fumbles. Austin Eckler, De'Ami Brown, and I forgot who else was. I think Jerry McNichols. I believe those were the 3 that fumbled. Thankfully, it wasn't Brian Robinson this time. It was nice to see that Brian Robinson didn't do trash. I mean, didn't talk trash and then do really bad. I mean, he didn't do great. He got stuffed at the line so many times. But overall, the team, the Eagles were just better that day. They really were. As much as it pains me to say that, the Eagles were just better. You can't say anything else but kudos to them. You played the win, we didn't. So I'll go more into the Commanders' full season in a video, but right now I'm just going over the playoff games. So Eagles make it to the Super Bowl and are the NFC champions, unfortunately. But then we go to the other side. You have the Chiefs and the Bills. So this game is definitely a lot more clouded on the win. You had some really controversial calls. The one pass to Worthy where if anything, if it was caught, it would have been an interception the way it looked, and it bounced off the ground. So that call should have been wiped off the board. And then the other one is that Josh Allen run that really looked like, in my opinion, it looked like a first down. Everybody has the right to their opinion. So you can argue against it, you can argue for it, but at the end of the day, it is finalized. The Bills did lose to the Kansas City Chiefs, so you can't do much after that. But in my opinion, both those calls should have been either back for not catching it or a first down for Josh Allen and the Bills, which would have helped them win that game. And then at the end of it, this wasn't a call, but Josh Allen gets out of a blitz and heaves it downfield, which usually that's an interception, but Dalton Kincaid, I believe, is right there. He jumps for it, lets it go right out of his hands, which I find really sad for Josh Allen because this man has been trying his heart to make it to the Super Bowl with his team, and he's been putting his heart out there for the Bills franchise, the Bills organization, the Bills fans, and it's not working out for him. So hopefully the Bills can come back and be strong for their fans and for themselves because that's gotta suck being knocked out of the playoffs 4 times by the same guy and sometimes by the same circumstances. So that's rough for both teams. So Chiefs, yes, some questionable calls the last 2 games, but nonetheless, by the NFL, they are in the Super Bowl. So the I got a lot of friends that are Eagles fans, but basically the Super Bowl no one wanted out of the Final Four. The Eagles and the Chiefs is the Super Bowl. Um, I know a lot of people who have literally told me they're not going to watch this one, which I am because I gotta talk about it. So I might as well watch it, and the halftime show. I'm excited for that. But yeah, it really is the worst combination of the Super Bowl you can get, in my opinion. That night was a rough night because not only did my Commanders take belt to butt, but then the Bills got borderline screwed out of making the Super Bowl. So sucks for the Bills, Commanders. You got to be better, and that's the Super Bowl. So it'll I guess it can be a good Super Bowl still. I mean, Saquon has to go off, but I'm really not. I'm kind of excited for it just to see what will happen ref wise. But we'll see, and if Jalen Hurts can actually throw a deep ball in the Super Bowl, which I know he can throw a deep ball, trust me. But we'll see if he can do it in the big game. Going off of football, soon it will be the NFL will be done. I mean, it's it's a week, and then it's the Super Bowl. So after that, it's coverage wise. I'm gonna start going back to it, but NBA and I'm maybe thinking UFL. It's a part of me thinks it'll just be fun, even though like it's a spring league. It's not as much, and it starts in March. But I think it could be fun, so I might go with that. But overall, NFL, the big guns. I'll stick with rumors. I'll stick with like trades and such with the coaches. The Jags' new coach Duval. But overall, it sucks that it sucks because the second the Commanders got knocked out the playoffs, I'm like, oh, no more football. So it really hit me hard because usually I'm by the first half of the year, I'm already getting ready for mock drafts and for Commanders and see who we can get. And this year, it's just different. So really happy with what the Commanders were able to do this year. But going into the NBA, as I said, I was going to cover it. The Rockets doing great, beat the Cavs 2 times in a row, beat the Celtics, and they beat the Thunder. So they're the only team to beat all 3 of them. And what can I say other than Amen Thompson? My boy Amen Thompson has been coming to play. He has been very good recently, had a triple double, had that game winner against the Celtics, and he's been great on the rebounds and great on dunking. One thing I will say though, I was watching the Grizzlies Rockets game yesterday, and one thing I can say, I think everyone knows this kind of his weakness is jump shots. There were multiple times where he was open for 3, like wide open, like the person walked backwards. They walked away from him. They literally walked away, and he drove in. And most of the times he did score, but a lot of times he passed it out, and the Jalen Green, the possession ends here, or Freddie VanVleet just throws up a random jumper, which I'll get into Fred in a minute. But Amen, he's been very good. He's been getting better. He's getting exponentially better. He's proven to be the better twin, which Masur is still probably gonna be really good. So no shade towards him. I like what they're doing in Detroit, which they beat us, so they're doing pretty good. Um, but yeah, he's getting way better. He's becoming one of the leaders of this team, and once he develops that jump shot, he's gonna be a freak, man. He already is an athletic freak. He's starting to get everything going. He's starting to get everything clicking. Once he gets that jumper, it's gonna be crazy. Because he was starting to hit some middies yesterday. I saw that, but 3-pointer, he'd hold it, he'd kind of look, and then he'd just pass out. So hopefully he can start to get that working, especially in the off season. But Fred VanVleet, what can I say about this man? He is literally the epitome of hot and cold. He Let's talk about the biggest thing. Yes, yesterday we lost to the Grizzlies by 1 point when we had a 10-point lead. I think at some point we might have a 16-point lead, but we had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter, and we still lost. So the Grizzlies score. Not surprised. Our defense wasn't good at the end, but We get the ball back. We have like something like 10, 8 seconds left, and you're seeing the play. They pass into Amen. Yeah, good. He passed the ball out. Totally fine. Give it back to him. No. I see Fred VanVleet. He could have gave it to Jalen Green or Amen Thompson. Those are the two I kind of want taking the last shot now. And he goes at Triple J. No, he goes at the center. I'm trying to remember the name. But he goes out to the center, takes a step back, and shoots basically a fadeaway three with 5 seconds left. Listen, we were down by 1 point. There was no need to take a three. You could have passed it to Jalen Green, who is like the best one-on-one player on our team, or you could have gave it to Amen Thompson, who really had a game winner 2 games ago. But no, Freddie VanVleet decides, oh, I'm just going to take a step back fadeaway three with 5 seconds left. Why? That was the dumbest mistake. You could have gone for two, a higher percentage shot. You could have passed it off. You could have got a center in there. You could have done anything but that because it was such a bad shot. And then even to try to get the rebound, the Memphis players just kept slapping it up. So really, really poor decision making. Right now, Jalen Green, a lot of people are saying trade him. I mean, I was kind of saying that last year, but he's starting to get a little better. I mean, he still has his ups and downs, but I think he's having more ups and downs recently. So I think he's a valuable piece. Freddie VanVleet, he's someone where I struggle with if I want to keep him or I want him to go because he just stuff he does is just sometimes so stupid. And Dillon Brooks, Dillon, you had 10 threes the other day, great job, but he's a hothead. Everybody knows that. He's the guy that said to LeBron that he was gonna poke the bear. Like he's a clown, really. Still like what he does. I mean, he gets some good rebounds, he takes some good shots, but honestly, my thought is you can let Freddie VanVleet go. Get Reed Sheppard in there. Maybe Reed Sheppard looked great in the G League. He hasn't really played too many minutes in the actual NBA, so maybe get him some more minutes to see if Fred VanVleet is expendable. And wait for Jabari Smith to come back, and then just put him at the 4, Şengün at the 5. You can have Amen Thompson at the 3, Jalen Green at the 2, and maybe Reed at the 1. He's looked great in the Summer League and G League, and just give him a shot because he looks like he's a good facilitator. He's a good scorer. So I would love to see what he can do with some type of minutes like Freddie VanVleet. Which, listen, Freddie VanVleet has done some great things for us. I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be here. He can ball, but he's too inconsistent for my liking, and he takes some bad shots. So, and I'm not saying other people on our team don't. Sometimes I see Jalen Green chuck up an almost half-point three. He made one yesterday, but that's not the best shot to take. But it is the NBA now for everybody knows. So hopefully the Rockets can start to get that going. And saying Şengün, once he gets back, he'll help us because it was his first game he missed with a calf injury, I believe, which is not an injury, but he was out for his calf. Which Şengün is a All-Star for the Rockets, first one in a freaking millennium. I'm so proud. I'm so happy for Şengün. A lot of people are saying how he made it over like Sabonis or something like that. And listen, Şengün, pivotal piece in a top 3 to 4 NBA team. Listen, and if you want to argue that, we beat the Cavs twice, we beat the Thunder, we beat the Celtics. That's arguably top 3. If you really think about it, in my top 3, I'm not going to say number 1, number 2, number 3, but my top 3 would probably be Cavs, Thunder, Rockets, somewhere in that range. Because the Celtics have been like not really that good this year. They've dealt with some injuries, but they're not looking like the defending champs they were with corny Jason Tatum, which he's still fun to watch sometimes. And his dunk on LeBron will forever be a memory ingrained in my brain because I saw it live. But they're a little slower this year, so I think they can knock him down a few times. And just the NBA as a whole, just some teams are looking like a lot of fun, and some teams aren't. The Wizards on a 16-game losing streak, if I recall, maybe even more, which I'm banking for them to have the longest losing streak in NBA history. That's my guess. That's my hope. Just because it would be funny. I think it could happen. Other than that, Rockets wise, you just gotta get Amen that 3-point shot or just a really quality mid range because it's not bad, but get him an okay shot, 3-point shot in a quality mid range. It'll change the whole game for him and change the league because he's going to be one of the top players in my opinion. The way he's progressing, and his brother will probably be very good because he's also a freak athlete. They both are, and I think he could be a really pivotal part of those Pistons. Which I will say, I will apologize for Cade Cunningham because a lot of like a few months ago, I kind of maybe said Cade Cunningham might be the problem and that you shouldn't pay him, and I put that into existence and it might be like that. So I do apologize to him and Pistons fans. He has been on fire. They beat us. They when Cade Cunningham's on the floor, they have a chance to really beat anyone, and um, he's just really good and fun to watch. Other than that, Lakers wise, the reason I'm talking about them is just, oh my gosh, is the LeBron and Bronny fandom kind of hard to watch sometimes. Like, I know they were trolling him, but the other day they were cheering MVP for Bronny James, and it was full troll. So I kind of feel bad for the kid because his father's there, so stuff like that's just gonna happen for his whole career, however long he lasts. But he was having a struggle. 76ers game, you had Tyrese Maxey come out there. You have Bronny go out too. He immediately throws a turnover, passes a turnover. Sorry, NFL still kind of on the mind. And then Tyrese Maxey goes right at him and scores. And he was just getting dogged on by Tyrese Maxey. So Bronny still got some time before he's like a really valuable piece. I mean, he's valuable right now because LeBron's in the league still. So LeBron's always going to want him there, and that's probably going to be a contract, not a contract, but if he wanted to go somewhere else, that'd be something they would kind of have to have. I don't think he will. I think he'll probably retire Laker or maybe go 1 year to Cleveland. But it's just crazy how people are attaching to Bronny as much as they do Bron. It's funny in some sorts, but it's also kind of annoying. But I don't want to anger too many LeBron fans because they'll come at me in the comments for it. But it's just funny. 76ers wise, I think everybody saw the stat that I believe it was 47% of Joel Embiid's NBA career, he has been on the bench not playing. He has missed 47 to like 48% of his games in his NBA career. That is insane to me. That is absolutely insane. Because you have this guy who they say, oh, when he's healthy, he's an MVP, which that 1 year he was healthy, he was MVP. Did he deserve it? You can kind of juggle that ball. I think there's voter fatigue for Jokic, but he hasn't been playing. And earlier this season, he had that whole thing with Tyrese Maxey, I believe, where he called him out because he wasn't showing up to meetings. So you have him not showing up to meetings. You have him not showing up to almost 50% of the games his career because he's hurt or not out there on the floor. Like one of the games a few days ago, he was dunking and he was still sat out. So Joel Embiid, it's you juggle with him. You have like, oh, he can be really good, but he's hurt all the time. So it's a pendulum of it's just swinging back and forth of what do we do with Joel? Do we let him go? Do we keep him? What do you do? Because you have some really good young stars there. Tyrese Maxey, for example, Jared McCain, which I'll go into him in a minute, but Jared McCain was amazing before he got hurt. Really funny guy, like him a lot. But um, you got some young pieces. Also, Paul George not working out. That was I thought it might help him out a bit, but it has not been helping out. He's one of those players where you gotta look at these guys as possibly expendable. I'm not saying you trade Joel Embiid for a bag of chips, but it's looking like there's a new process that needs to be trusted because this process is not trusted anymore. You got him. He's not there for the team. He's not there for meetings and he's not there for games. So he'll be sitting on the bench, but he's not on the floor. And it's not looking good for the 76ers with him. You can I've seen a lot of people saying it'll be hard, but try to tank, maybe get Cooper Flag, maybe try to get a taller center, try to get someone that can help you in that position for the team because I don't know how much longer Joel Embiid's going to be able to do that for you. It's not looking really good here. So hopefully for the 76ers, he can go out and be that player everyone knows he can be, and maybe Paul George can fix himself and go be the Paul George we know he can be, the one that doesn't complain that he's bored about being a center. But overall, the 76ers might need to look into something else on the process side. And to Jared McCain, definitely would have been Rookie of the Year if he didn't get hurt. He was balling 15 points per game, 2.4 assists, something like that, and then an okay amount of rebounds. So, dude's a baller. For some reason, I had my doubts when he was coming out of Duke to the league for some reason, and he just blew it out of the water. He was doing great until his injury. So, really excited to see what he can do in a full season compared to just a month, which he still won Rookie of the Month that year. That month. So, dude's insane. Can't wait to see what he can do, and really hope Reed Shepherd can get to kind of rookie level like that when he gets minutes. Please give him minutes, please. But 76ers, Jared McCain, good partnership there. Joel Embiid might want to move on from that. Other than that, other kind of controversies, you got Jimmy Butler. Oh, Jimmy Butler. He is and definitely suspended from the Miami Heat, and the trade deadline is coming up next week. Or it's like early next week or end of the weekend, something like that. So there's gonna be some trades I'll probably talk about actively, but it's it's rough with him. Him and Pat Riley are like just button heads. Like it's bad. It is not looking good for anyone there. Kevin Love's been hilarious on Instagram and Twitter. It's been really funny. You got all those jokes with Jimmy Butler not being able to pay for things with his credit card because he doesn't have a job. He's jobless, so he can't pay for things. So, but if you really think about it, it is a very very unfortunate situation for the Heat just because he is that guy that brought you to 2 finals. He's the guy that he couldn't get it done, but he got it there because there wasn't, I don't think, enough talent around him. There's some good talent. Tyler Hero is an all-star this year. He's been very good. Bam Adebayo, he's pretty good. You got some other people around him, but it's just not enough. You had Victor Oladipo around him, I believe, during that time. So it sucks that he was that guy for you, and now the relationship is severed. Another team like that, what happened to Jimmy, is the Timberwolves. So Jimmy has a really bad tendency of leaving a team in a really bad way. I don't know if he wants it to happen like that, but every single time it's like an ugly breakup. So we'll see where he gets traded to, unless they just suspend him for the rest of the year and just say, hey, guess what? You're gonna sit on the couch. That could be something. I don't know if it will happen, but let's hope he gets traded for his sake and the Heat's sake, so they can get all that drama away from them so they can just focus on basketball. Because that is something that can really affect players, especially when one of your best friends, one of your boys is saying he doesn't hate them, of course. He said that, but he doesn't like the team you play for. He don't like your home. So it can kind of hurt some people's playing because they're always thinking about Jimmy Butler not being able to play with them and like how they could be playing if Jimmy was on the court and playing well. So it's a rough situation for them, but they'll figure it out soon. I mean, there's not too much to go for. Speaking about Tyler Hero, thank you for waking Amen Thompson though, because after you got in that fight and after you had that game against him, Amen has been acting different. So thank you so much for awakening that bear, as Dylan Brooks would say. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So if you want me to do some UFL stuff when it starts happening, let me know. I'm gonna stick with NFL rumors and trades and all that stuff. Coaches I'll get into when all the positions are hired, which the Saints, I don't know if you're gonna want that position. Raiders, Pete Carroll's good there, but he's old, but that's for another day. I will do my predictions for Super Bowl next week, and I will have that Commanders video out talking about the season, how I felt about it, and I will have Royal Rumble predictions out tomorrow. So thank you very much for watching this episode of JB Sports. It is Friday. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Royal Rumble if you're watching it, and if not, just enjoy some other sports. Bye. Subscribe.